ProVision Mentorship is one of several strategic focuses of ProVision Solutions Inc. I'm Jim Ewing, and mentorship can make a difference. This is one of several interviews with those who've experienced mentorship. Learn from their experiences. Then take a moment and share your experiences on our blog, ProVision Mentorship.
We're here in Edmonton with Doug Paquette, and I've known Doug for a number of years. I know he does a lot of terrific work with newcomers, immigrants to Canada and to Alberta, and as they're transitioning from where they've been to where they want to be. Doug, thank you for joining us in this conversation. Could you maybe give us a little bit of your background, who you are and what you're involved in?
Oh, great. Thanks, Jim. As you said, I've been doing work with immigrants for over 8 years, especially in the area of integration of newcomers, professional newcomers. Prior to that, I've worked in the nonprofit sector in community economic development for about 26 years, working all over rural Alberta and including a short stint in South America. But primarily my work has been in the area of community economic development and seeing people sort of reach their potential, or communities reach their potential, and aspire to their dreams. The Edmonton Region Immigrant Employment Council began in 2008. I was the original executive director, and basically we looked at the beginning was how are we going to help newcomers who are coming to this country mitigate some of the barriers they're facing here in Canada.
What are some of the unique needs and requirements in mentoring newcomers?
Well, in the term we like to use is soft skill or tacit knowledge that people require when they come to a new country, and it's the experience of and I use this expression, a fish out of water. So a lot of newcomers come here with their technical skills, and which is great and is what employers are looking for, but a big concern for many employers is, do they have the soft skills? Do they have that tacit knowledge in order to integrate into the work culture, the Canadian work culture here in Canada? So our approach in our mentorship program is peer-to-peer mentoring, so professional with a professional, and basically that transference of knowledge between the professional that has the experience here in Canada to somebody who's new to their profession here in Canada.
Are there some suggestions that you would give to mentors and mentees that would help them to improve the overall quality of their mentorship relationship?
Well, I think that what we ask, and we have mentors and mentees go through an interview process in order to, sort of be eligible for our program. So we do a lot of work in filtering, ensuring that they have at least the foundation and the understanding of what the mentorship relationship is about. So we make sure that that's clear right from the beginning. So it's not about just a feel-good exercise, I want to give back, which is really important in terms of motivation from the mentor side, but it's also an understanding that everything that a mentor does is kind of it's a model to this newcomer. They are open to making the transition, trying to integrate into their work, into their sector, and so it's the mentor needs to know that the mentee is actively watching, actively listening to their Canadian counterpart here in Canada. So I think that some of it, even though it's not really formal knowledge, when we talk about the tacit knowledge of or soft skill transference, it's something that the mentor needs to know that these soft skills are important, or as vital as the technical or hard skills. So they need to know that anything that they transfer, or when they communicate and go into some kind of relationship with them, the mentee is paying attention and watching and perhaps modeling and taking that towards requiting their careers here in Canada. The mentee also needs to know that they can't go into these situations using the old context, which is the previous culture that they came from. They're in a new culture, so they need to know how to navigate the areas of team building, conflict resolution. There are specific ways that we do that here in Canada. Our interpretation or definition of what production might be slightly different. The management structures may be different from their home country. And the way we communicate with, let's say, superiors, or how we would, again, resolve a conflict may be a little bit different than what was done in their previous experience. So it's not to say that we're saying reject what you had in the past or reject your own culture. That is part of you, and that is something that you need to keep within you. But in this new environment that you're working in, you will need to know that there are certain ways of doing things that the mentor can imply or transfer during that relationship period.
But from your experience, what value do you see being gained by the newcomers, the mentees, as well as the mentors who participate in mentoring relationships, and maybe even the organizations that these people find themselves employed in?
This mentorship, I love the concept. It's not a new concept whatsoever. It's as old as time itself. And the first time we got together to build a fire, that experiential transference, we transferred that in a sort of a mentorship relationship. But for the mentor, it's an opportunity to learn about how others do work in other countries. So there is that, although the mentor is tasked with trying to get people to integrate here in Canada, but it is an opportunity to learn about how things are done in other countries and other jurisdictions and other cultures. So there is that sort of opportunity. There's a leadership development or professional development possibility in a mentored relationship. So what the office landscape in Canada looks like today is very much different than it was 15, 20 years ago. And I think intercultural capacities or intercultural understanding is, I think, one of the top skills to have going forward in today's workforce. So here's an opportunity to actually apply some of that, those skills and learn those skills by working with a mentee. It's not as simple as just having that kind of relationship. You need to actually practice. You have to do it in order to become good at it. Whereas the hard skills are things you learn in school, you learn from the internet, you learn from books. In a mentored relationship, it is very experiential. You have to use your own soft skills yourself, your own networks, so that you can help your mentee sort of reach out into the sector a little bit. So it's a great opportunity for you to practice your networking skills and reflect upon your own soft skills that you have that have made you a success. For the mentee, it's an opportunity to obviously to requite their careers here in Canada through the assistance of their own peers. And so it sometimes can be a little bit more effective than, let's say, going to perhaps a job counselor. A job counselor can provide you with a lot of tools, but I think when you talk to a peer, there is, I think there's a less of a reticence. There's more an opportunity to listen to somebody who's been there, who's at my level. And I think that has more of an impact in terms of how I may respond later based on that advice that they provide. So the mentee has, I think, again, the opportunity to figure out what are the unwritten rules, the uncodified rules that we don't know about. They're all sort of hidden. Nobody teaches us all these things. They're not in books. They're things that are done by having an informal relationship with a mentor or a formal relationship with a mentor. For organizations, it's an opportunity to maybe expand their reach internationally. I mean, having some of those connections, and it doesn't sound, for some, they say, well, how will one person help me to understand a foreign market? But it's really interesting to see, and having sort of followed up with people who are in the industry and saying, my mentee or that person who's now working for us has these really interesting connections back home in Southeast Asia or in China or in India or in South America, has opened up possibilities or doors for some of these businesses, and in all different aspects of the business. So there is that possibility. And so sort of building on that as well as the soft recruitment piece. So when you're in a mentored relationship, the organization that has endorsed or has supported the mentor to work in our program also has the possibility of soft recruiting these folks. Not an immediate commitment on the outset, but as the relationship goes, they may see that there could be some skill sets or a good fit for their organization.
If someone was thinking of becoming a mentor or looking for a mentor, what words would you pass on to them as they would ponder that scenario?
I would say dive into the pool. It's a transformative experience. I mean, for anybody that's been a mentor in their lives, I think what it does is it takes people and reminds them that they themselves have been mentored at one point and somebody has given them a leg up. And here's an opportunity to give back, but it's beyond that. It is a professional development opportunity. It's a leadership opportunity for you to participate in, and you can be a part of somebody else's story. And I think we can all say that if we look back in our own careers, there have been many that have been part of our own stories, and I would say be a part of somebody else's story.
Doug Paquette, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jim.
Now it's your turn to share your experience with mentorship. Visit our blog, Provision Mentorship. Make the investment in mentorship today for your success tomorrow.